Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel here, and we are continuing our read through of Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings. We are up to chapter 43 entitled The Wretch. In this chapter, the chapter inscription at the very beginning, it is seemingly another indication of something, talking about these void bringers. One of the marking, the word says a child's tale, but this quote from Shadows Remembered seems to hit at the truth that I seek. That's probably something Yasna is writing down. Again, we've brought that up time and time again. We don't really know what the truth she's seeking, but it seems to have something to do with the ancient Voidbringers or something like the Lost Radiance. That's going to come up again in this chapter. But 43, The Wretch, that title is there because of really the mental state that we find Kaladin. I don't really want to take you out of the story, but you are going to find that Kaladin struggles with bouts of depression, and that gets brought up a lot in this chapter. How he'll go through cycles where he's filled with hope, something will dash his hopes, and then he sort of plummets into the depths of despair. And that's where he's at right now. He is concluded from watching the most recent attack on the Shattered Plains that the Bridgmen are just there to absorb arrows. And he knows this is absolutely futile. And so he wakes up, he's struggling to sleep, he walks out, the men are out waiting for him because it's early in the morning or whenever it is, and they're waiting for him to begin training lessons for him. And there's a new individual who is riding into town, and it is their replacement, right? When that whole debacle, when Kaladin did the side carry maneuver, it got their light eyes not really overlord, but overseer. It got him killed. And so his replacement, Lamaril, what was his name? Well, there's a new man who's here, Bright Lord Matal, and his wife, Brightness Hashal, is with him. And they have a little bit of a back and forth. Kaladin does a little bit of speaking, but because of his sort of emotional state, he says some pretty stupid stuff to these new Bright Lords. And a soldier comes up and bashes Kaladin in the face with his spear. And the Brightness, she lets them know that Bridge 4 is being assigned permanently to chasm duty. It's going to keep them out of trouble. So chasm duty and bridge runs, and chasm duty and bridge runs. So now there's not even an opportunity for them to get the reeds, to get the ointment, to heal wounds, to get bandages, to earn any kind of more extra money, or get food for their evening meal, for the pot of stew. Their life, as they know it, has come to an end, and this just plunges Kaladin further down into the depths. So we sort of find the middle of the chapter where the most of it happens. They're down in the chasms, and they're looking for dead bodies, where they can obviously get things from them. Knives and money and armor and things of that nature. And the men are really lost because Kaladin was this beacon of hope, and he survived the high storm only to find him now seemingly turning his back on them. Teft actually challenges them and is like, do you want to talk about what's going on? Like, what is your problem? And Kaladin snarkily gives some responses. Moash gets involved and says, see, even he doesn't believe that there's any hope. And Kaladin sort of is getting ready to storm off by himself. He just needs to get away when Teft is in the middle of explaining to him, like, we should just keep fighting. We should keep trying to live. And he says a phrase that's super, super important. And this is what I really want to bring a lot of attention to. He says, we should keep fighting right until those arrows take us. You know, journey before destination. And Kaladin says, what does that mean? And Teft says, I don't know, just something I heard once. And Sigzil, you may know Sigzil, he's sort of the educated one, and he sort of chimes in, it's something the Lost Radiance used to say. And then he actually speaks and says the entire phrase, life before death, strength before weakness, journey before destination. Well, this brings up a whole discussion about the Radiants, and did they abandon us? Did they betray us to the Voidbringers? There's so many stories. They kind of start to argue, and then yes, Kaladin just can't handle it. He just runs away down a chasm by himself. But that phrase, those three words, like life before death, that seems to be circling and spinning around in his brain. He's like, what does that mean? Live before you die. Death is the destination, but journey is the life that we get to live before then. So make the most of it. And he really does sort of come to himself. He comes back, he's calmed, he's more encouraged, and he has a plan. What is the plan? He lets the men know, we're going to die by the Parshendi arrows, or we can try to escape. So what do you all want to do? And one by one they say, let's escape. He flips Moash a spear and he says, well, we're going to need to learn how to use these, and I can teach you. The chapter ends with a brief sentence. They were frightened by the idea. Most were slaves or lowly workmen, but they were willing. Kaladin stepped forward and began to outline a plan. This chapter is entitled The Wretch, chapter 43. Kaladin is not going to go down that road again. This phrase that Teft brought up, journey before destination, life before death, seems to have struck a chord with Kaladin. We'll see what life looks like for him moving forward. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the read-through. We'll come back together with the next chapter. If you're interested, you can like and subscribe. And we're going to continue reading The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, as well as many other videos that are on the channel. Check it out. Find something that may interest you. Let me know what you're thinking, and I'd love to have that conversation. Thanks so much.